Hello everyone. Thank you for visiting Funcepto Learning, 1 inch miles deep. What is NPS? NPS is abbreviated as Net Promoter Score. This was first introduced by a Harvard graduate, Frederick F. Richhead, in the year 2003. The concept is very simple, a unique experience sharing mechanism through the power of loyalty. Now, yes, you heard it right, loyalty. Fred thought process was, if a customer or client is happy with your product or services, he or she would put their credibility on stake, go beyond and recommend you, thereby acting as a growth enabler with a minimal cost. And before we proceed further, I would like you to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. First question that comes to my mind is, why do I need NPS? In a typical product or a service industry, the biggest challenges that leaders face, which I have noticed, is high cost of acquiring new client or customer. The second most challenge is the dissatisfied existing customer. Now, to tackle these problem, the simple way is implementing a NPS survey. Now, why do I need NPS? Now, NPS is very simple and effective. It acts as enabler for a profitable growth. Through the valuable feedback, you can actually improve the product and services, which makes sense. Last but not the least, it is most cost effective. Now, one of the typical use case that I could think of is Glassdoor. Now, Glassdoor is one of the world's largest job and recruiting website. They actually use NPS survey to improve their product diversity and also the features. So they directly take the feedback from the customers who are using their website and implement those changes. Now sounds exciting. You are actually reaching out to customer and then making decision based on what would impact them. Now that's the right way to build any product or services. Now that we know why we need NPS, let's look at how do we design an NPS. The first component of the designing of NPS is the survey question itself, and the most common question that you would probably see is this: how likely is that you would recommend the product or services to your colleague or friend? Now, this is a generic question. Some of the organizations also use specific questions by replacing product and services to the quality of service, speed of service, ease of service, and so on and so forth. Now, you can replace this with any of the questions where you're specifically looking for a feedback. Now, that helps you kind of drill down to the pain areas and then have a mitigation plan around it. Some of the common tools that are very user friendly that I see is, one is a Google Forms, and the other is SurveyMonkey. So you can use these platforms to trigger the surveys, configure the questions, and also gather the feedback. Now, how is NPS measured, right? The scale of the NPS is a typical 10-point scale. If you look at the ratings, I mean, it starts from 10 to 1 to 10, 1 being the least and 10 being the highest. The ratings between 1 to 6, we call it as detractors, who are not at all satisfied, who would not want to promote your services or your products. They are not happy with the processes, right? They are not happy with the product or services. Then you have the passives. These are especially neutral parties who are neither happy nor satisfied, but they will not detract or even promote your product or services. The final is 9 and 10 responses, where these are promoters, right? These are very passionate about your product. They see value in your product or services, and they are happy to say to everyone, saying that you can go ahead and use the product or services. One of the typical example that I could think of is if you're buying a car from any one of the known automobile leaders. You would, if you like the performance of the car, you would definitely go ahead and promote that, and recommend that to your friends and colleague. And on the other hand, if you don't like the car, you go and say not to buy the car, and it is purely basis what you experience using that product or services. Now this is how the scale looks like. 1 is the least rated number and 10 being the highest rated number. So these are the segments of uh, of your NPS scale. So the focus is how do we reduce the dissatisfier, and how do we ensure that the promoters are always promoting, right? One is giving you business by promoting, the other ones are not happy with your product or services, which gives an opportunity for an organization to improve their products or services. Now that you're aware of the scale we use in NPS, the next step is to look at how do we calculate NPS. What are some of the industry benchmarks that we have? So let's look at how do we calculate NPS. So NPS, like we know that we have promoters, detractors, and passive. NPS is calculated by subtracting the percentage of promoters with the percentage of detractors, right? So promoters, again, anyone who's rated you 9 and 10, and detractors are your 1 and 6. So some of the industry benchmark that I could think out of is NPS can range from -100 to 100. So anything which is -100 to 0 needs improvement, where you're scored. Anything from 0 to 30 is good, 30 to 70 is great, and 70 to 10 is excellent. Let's take a typical example of in this particular chart, that you have you have one column, you have detractors and promoters, because that is what we wanted that is what we wanted to arrive at the NPS. So we have the rating from 1 to 6, and we have 7, 8, and 9, 10, right? So these are the responses that you have received, let's say from your customers, and sum of 1 to 6 rating is 37, sum of 9 and 10 rating is 50, which is 30 and 20. Now the percentage, you just need to subtract promoters with detractors, and then you get and multiply with 100, you get 11.11 as a number. Now 11.11 falls under this particular criteria, if I may say, right? So this is where it falls, which means that you have a good NPS score. The some of the not good practices that I have seen people following is averaging out the responses, right? So taking an average is the worst thing to do while calculating NPS. In this particular section, it clearly calls out that what are the drivers of your promoters, right? So what is helping them, or what is making these customers promote your product or services? On the other hand, detractors will help you. Why are these customers not happy? What can I do to improve the product and services? Now this is helping you in reduce uh, the cost for acquiring new customers, but this is helping you improve your product and services, and which in turn will go back to promoters. So it's a constant cycle, right? So you will have to keep pushing your promoters, your detractors to promoters, and then you always have to focus on promoters because they bring business to you. Now this is the cycle, right? So from detractors, push them to promoters. So neutrals, you really can't tell them what they require, right? Because they are passive, they don't they are not either happy nor dissatisfied. But these are the ones. On the other hand, even your promoters can easily go to detractors if your service or product are not up to the mark. So this is a continuous cycle, and both the sides have to be balanced, or you need to ensure that the right actions are taken at both the stages to keep your business running in business at a low cost, but with high customer satisfaction. Now, if you look at some of the top brands that we have, right? like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Samsung, BMW Group, and then Nike. All of them use NPS to ensure that they are getting the right feedback from the customer and they're working on the improvements. These are the brands who are using NPS from ages to see what really works for their customers, right? And these are just top, few companies or brands that I could think of, but there is a lot more to it, right? So keep few things in mind, right? So in terms of the loyalty, that you need to build in a customer through your product and services, and how that loyalty of the customer can generate value to your organization, right? So you thereby, if you look at, logically, they are actually helping you get more sales, get more businesses by not investing anything, right? So your products and services speak by itself, right? This is a constant way, mechanism that we need to build in an organization to ensure that we are in the business with the changing times, right? And you will only get to know what you want, what your customers are liking, by asking them, right? uh, so with that, I hope you like the video, and please do like, share, subscribe to your friends, and so that they can benefit from it. And happy learning and happy applying. uh, I will see you in the next video. Thank you.